channel. In today's video, we're going to be going over my birthday book haul. So to go over some stats first, and then we'll get into all of them. So I tried to do 28 books for my 28th birthday, and I knew how to count. I kept track, and then I hit 28 and then wanted more books. I got gift cards. So I decided, you know what? We're just not going to count. It's my birthday. I'm going to celebrate how I want. And after this, I'm cutting myself up for the remainder of the first 3 months of the year. We're not going to get any more books until the spring. And then we'll reevaluate then and, cry about our financial choices then. Because now we're good. I spent all the free money that I got for Barnes on books, and I'm happy with that choice. So we ended up getting 35 books total, which is crazy, is wild, considering I counted to 28 and then I was like, okay, we're done. And then decided we're not. 35 books. We got 10 romance, 2 mystery thrillers, and the rest were fantasy romantasy. So we can tell what I've been in the mood for. I'm not exaggerating when I said, that's really all I've been wanting to read lately. That really is all I've wanted to read lately, 23 fantasy romance books. That's kind of intense. But if you think about it, 35 is a third of what I read in 2025. So I'm basically just getting myself set up for 3 months. I like that logic, right? Girl math. Okay, so let's go ahead and get on into our little haul. So first, I figured we'd go over the books that I got from indie bookstores. The first one that I got is Terror at the Gates by Scarlett St. Clair. This one, I don't know a ton about, but I know that people have described it as good for people with religious trauma, which if you know me, I eat that stuff up. So we're really excited for this one. Also, the cover is just super interesting in my opinion. I do really like the religious motifs and the snake, and I do think it's just a really aesthetically pleasing cover. So this was the first one that we grabbed. And the next book that I picked up is one that I've been eyeing on for a while. It's Alex Astor's contemporary romance debut, Summer in the City. So it has a really pretty city skyline, and I believe this one follows someone in the writing, directing maybe space. Okay, it looks like she's a screenwriter. She has the chance of a lifetime to write a big budget movie set in New York City. The only problem, she's had writer's block for months and her screenplay is due at the end of summer. She teams up with this bachelor, Parker Warren, and they basically decide to fake date for the summer. And she gets to see the city with him. I think that sounds super cute and super fun. And it's also just such a skinny legend. I'm pretty sure this will be, is it under 300 pages or around 300 pages? Yeah, 292. So I like that. And then the last 2 hardcover books I picked up are actually books that I requested my local indie romance bookstore keep in stock, and they got them. So I had to pick them up. And that is Smoke and Scar and Splintered Kingdom by Gretchen Powell Fox. I saw her at Books, Gowns, and Crowns, but did not have physical copies of her books, and I couldn't fit any more in my suitcase. But I really wanted to read her stuff. And so now that she's getting trad published, I do have the indie versions of her books, and I'm super excited to read these. I, again, don't know anything about them. I just liked how this author talked about her books, and she made them sound really interesting. All the rest of the books that I picked up from indie bookstores are just regular paperbacks, and a lot of them I actually got at Beguiled's grand opening. I think that I got 2 of those at Beguiled's grand opening, but this one is Demon with Benefits. This is the 3rd book, I believe, in the Hellbent series. Let me double check that it's the 3rd one. Yes, this one is the 3rd one in the Hellbent series. So it follows My Demon Valentine and My Funny Demon Valentine and My Demon Hunter. So this is the 3rd book following that set of demon brothers. So super excited. Has the pretty sprayed edges, which we love. Another book with super pretty sprayed edges that I got is Thrown in the Dark. It has the pretty purple sprayed edges, and it is by A.K. Cagiano, I think is how you pronounce their last name. But this one is just your generic Grumpy Sunshine Romantasy, and I'm really excited for this one. Like I said, just lots and lots of romantasy. So next up we have Nightshade. This one is by Autumn Woods. The next one that we have is Road Trip with a Vampire. This one's by Jenna Levine, and this one is part of the My Roommate's a Vampire, that series. So we have My Vampire Plus One, and then this one is, I believe, the third book in that little interconnected standalone series. And so in this one, we're following a character that I believe we get introduced to in the second book in that series. Her name is Zelda, and she's a like reformed bad witch who goes on this road trip with Peter, who we know from My Roommate is a Vampire. That's the first book. And then I also picked up The Devil She Knows. This one is by Alexandra Belfleur. Yes. I honestly don't know much about this one. Oh my God, cute. It came with little stuff. I didn't even notice. So it came with this cute little postcard, and then a bookmark, and then a book plate. So we love that. I don't know a ton about this one, but I do know that it follows that kind of trope of like not intentionally summoning a demon. So Samantha Cooper is having the day from hell. In less than 24 hours, her life is unraveled, leaving her single and nowhere to live. Adding insult to injury, she's trapped in an elevator with a gorgeous woman who claims to be a demon. Daphne is not all that Samantha expected from someone insisting she's an evil supernatural entity. She's pretty, witty, dressed in pink, and smells nice. And she's here to offer Samantha a deal that she can't refuse. 6 wishes in exchange for one tiny trade, Samantha's soul. There's a glaring loophole in their contract, one Samantha fully intends to exploit so she doesn't have to fork over her soul. After all, she only needs one wish to win her ex back. Hellbent to gather the last of the 1,000 souls she needs so that she can be free of her own devilish deal, Daphne grants each of Samantha's wishes with a twist, so Samantha is forced to make more. As Samantha's wishes dwindle and Daphne offers her glimpses into the life she thought she wanted, the unlikely pair grows close. Perhaps the girl of Samantha's dreams is actually the stuff of nightmares, but Samantha and Daphne will have to outsmart the devil himself if they want a chance at happily ever after. So I thought that was super fun. It's blurred by literally all of my favorite authors. There's literally a blurb from this author on the back. So Jenna Levine blurbs it, Lana Ferguson blurbs it, and then I think on the front, BK Borison blurbs it. So like literally all of my favorites. The last romantasy that I picked up from an indie bookstore is The Ascended. This one is by Greenwich and Lennox, and they are the authors of Riftborn and Duskbound, I believe is their other series, which I can't find in stores. This is like the only one that I could find in stores, so I went ahead and just picked it up. I know they're set in the same world, and this one features like games and trials, so I'm already more interested in this one than the other two, but like that's totally okay. Like I'll just find the other two elsewhere, maybe online at a later date, but this one is the one that I want to get started with for now. I don't know if there's a certain order that I should be reading them in, but this one's pretty chunky. So I'm hoping that this one can be read on its own, like first. And then our last 3 that we got at indie romance bookstores is these like contemporary romances. So the first one is Late Night Love. This one is by Kayla Wolfberg, I think is how you pronounce her name. This one's kind of a spin on the Weekend Update that they do on SNL. So if you're familiar with that, this kind of follows like a similar premise where the main character gets her dream job as a writer for the SNL based show that they're, like spinning off of. But what she really wants is to write for the legendary Weekend Update segment. So it becomes clear that the current hosts will never give her the chance. She decides to take matters in her own hands and replace one of their jokes with her own. And it kind of takes off from there, which I think is super exciting. Another pretty skinny legend. So I'm kind of excited to have some more like skinnier books on the TBR. Yeah, 292. Wait, that was how many was in Summer in the City. That's crazy. So the next contemporary romance that I picked up is Heated Rivalry. If you've been, on the internet at all in the last, I'm going to say like 2 months, you'll know that this became a show and everyone's been eating it up. It's on, I believe, HBO Max, and I really, really wanted to watch it, but I want to read the book first. I believe this is the second book in that series, but I will be okay reading it out of order as long as I'm reading it before watching the show, I think. It's been super hard to get your like hands on a physical copy of this book. I guess the publisher didn't think that the book would be as popular as it is. so they just didn't print extra, which is like wild to me. But swung by Beguiled in Seattle, and they had their little like specialty table, and this was literally the last one. So I was like, I have to have this. I have to get it. So she came home with me, and I'm super excited to read it. And then our last contemporary that I picked up was actually a blind date with a book from Beguiled. This one is Never Been Shipped. This one's by Alicia Thompson, who did Love in the Time of Serial Killers, and With Love from Cold World, I think is another one that she did. This one follows two ex-bandmates who are doing like a reunion cruise together. So sounds super fun, sounds super interesting. I'm really excited for this one. Okay, so now that we've gone over all of our indie bookstore pickups, let's go ahead and go over our PangoBooks haul. So this one I actually did in 2 different orders from 2 different sellers, just because those were the people that had multiple books that I was looking for. I did put together a little list beforehand, so most of these are from that like priority list. When we get to Pango, that's where we start getting wild. Like I did really well on my indie bookstores. I did really well on Pango. I did pretty okay with Barnes. Half Price Books was where I was like just picking up whatever. So Dead of Night is Jessa Maxwell's newest release. And if you know me, I love Jessa Maxwell's writing. I've loved both of the books of hers that I've read. And this one is called Dead of Summer. I don't know a ton about this. Let me look. Oh, okay. So this is kind of funny. So if anyone watched, what was that show, Revenge? It was like an ABC show. It's about this girl whose dad is wrongly convicted of, I guess, like, I don't even know what he's exactly convicted of. But like, he stole a bunch of people's money and like gave it to like criminals, was kind of like the premise. But this girl knew her dad didn't do it. And so he is like rotting in jail. I think he gets killed in jail. And she decides like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and like go after the people who like made him get convicted, who like framed him. Because it was like his business partners or something. And I believe the guy's name was David Clark. And the main character in this one is named David Clark, like the MMC. I was like, that's fate. That's destiny. But basically, Faith finds an extravagant ring on the first day of what is to be a summer of luxury. David Clark of the billionaire Clark family has brought her to his cottage for the season, and though it isn't initially part of her plan to get married, the obvious wealth on display is seductive, especially for someone who comes from where she did. But while Clark's money provides resort-style accommodations on a sun-soaked island, it might also gloss over secrets and stories of long-ago betrayal. Stories about a man ostracized from his community who lives in a house surrounded by the ocean. Stories about David Clark's childhood best friends, 2 girls, one who died at his family's 4th of July party and the other who fled to New York to study art, never to be seen again. Soon Faith isn't sure what to believe about Hadley Island or her soon-to-be fiancé. When another young girl goes missing, it becomes clear that while the wealthy love Hadley Island for its seduction, small communities never forget, and bodies long thought gone have a nasty habit of returning with the tide. Yes. So super excited for this one. Like I said, just really enjoy the way that Jessa Maxwell writes, and also like her books always end up being really skinny. I'm pretty sure The Golden Spoon was under 300 pages. I'm pretty sure, what was that one book that she wrote that I read last year? I Need You to Read This. That one was also super short. Yeah, 279. So super skinny legend. Love it. Okay, I'm pretty sure from that seller, I also picked up Hopelessly T-Voted. I don't know a ton about this one, but I do know that it's a little witchy. So I thought that was super cute. I really like the cover of this one. And I think that you can never go wrong with just like a good little witch romance. And then the next seller on PangoBooks, I picked up The Rose Bargain, which I've heard be described as like Victorian era or like Bridgerton era, like Hunger Games. And I'm super excited for that. So in this one, it looks like high society girls are expected to bargain for qualities that will win them suitors. A rare talent for piano in exchange for one's happiest childhood memory, a perfect smile for one's ability to taste. But Ivy's debut season arrives with a shocking twist, a competition to marry the Queen's Fae son. It's a prize that could save Ivy's family from ruin and free her older sister from the bargain that destroyed her. Yet every glittering Fae deal has a rotting heart, and amidst lavish balls, various competitions, and dangerous alliances with the prince's rakish younger brother, Ivy realizes that the center of this contest lies a dark plot that could destroy all of England and her heart with it. So yeah, Bridgerton era Hunger Games. Super excited. And then I also picked up Not Safe for Work. This one's by Nisha J. Tooley. And at this one, I believe it's just about a girl who like gets passed up for a promotion and then ends up getting roped into going on a trip with the guy who got the promotion that she thought she deserved, which we love a workplace romance. So I'm very excited for this one. And now we get into where things kind of go off the rails and get a little wild, and where I'm like, I don't know why, I just had to have this book. I'll just show you what I got and then we'll go from there. So the first book that we picked up was The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee. This one I've had my eye on for a while. I've read other Holly Renee books and I like them. I just think that she has a habit of writing too many books. Like, I feel like SJM is another author that does that, where it's like, do we really need another book? Do we really need that many pages in that book? I feel like Holly Renee does that. Like, I've read a trilogy by her and I was like, this could have been, I think each book was like 300 pages. And I was like, each one of these could have been one book condensed down to 500 pages max. Like, we did not need to have this many pages, like, at all. So Veiled Kingdom, this one is, I believe, about a princess who's fleeing her father's cruelty is literally the first line of the back of the book. So she's fleeing her father's cruelty. But she ends up being captured by rebels and they don't know who she is. So she kind of blends in with them. So this one's super interesting, super excited to pick this one up. Like I said, this one was probably like the only one that I like intended to buy. The next books that I picked up are actually two from the same series, so I'll talk about them together. But this is Bright Lights and Summer Nights and Pretty Rings and Broken Things. These ones are both by Kat Singleton, and she did Black Ties and White Lies. I have the other book over there. But these ones got picked up for traditional publishing and they redid the covers. So I have Black Ties and White Lies in the OG covers like this, and just thought that I would never get the other two in the set. They're billionaire romances. I believe the first book, Black Ties and White Lies, is best friend's brother or ex's brother. No, it's ex's brother. That's it. So Black Ties and White Lies is ex-boyfriend's brother. And then this one is fake dating. So Bright Lights and Summer Nights is fake dating. And then and then Pretty Rings and Broken Things is the one where it is marriage of convenience. So all of our favorite tropes are present. I'm very excited for this one. And again, like I said, didn't expect to find them, so they were not on my list. Another book that was definitely not on my list, but I had literally just looked at on Amazon like 2 days before finding it at Half Price Books, was Here for the Wrong Reasons. So this one is a sapphic story about two contestants who go on a like bachelor style dating competition, and one of them truly is there for the wrong reasons. Like, she literally just wants to stick it out long enough to get a following on social media, and then she wants to go, but she ends up meeting a fellow contestant who sparks her interest, who they connect and they vibe. So there's this one. The next book that I picked up is A Reign of Rose. This one is the third book in the Dawn of Onyx trilogy. This was supposed to be on my 25 books to read in 2025, but I ended up not picking up a physical copy until like literally December. So that's why she didn't end up getting read this year, because I just didn't have her. Next book that I ended up picking up is Dust Storm. This is by Maggie Gates, and this one is a single dad cowboy romance. We're following Cassandra, who I guess is like exiled from her like posh businessy New York job and ends up going back to, I don't know if this is supposed to be like her hometown or like what exactly she's doing in this small town, but she ends up going back to this small town and ends up being kind of like a live-in nanny for Christian. And it kind of takes off from there. This one is another one where I mainly picked it up because it is the indie copy, and I know that they reprinted these with a new cover, and the new covers are weird to me. They don't have faces. Like, the way that they're like angled, like you don't see any faces on the little characters on the front, and that like weirds me out a lot. Speaking of not being able to see faces, but in like a good way, the next one is The Tides Between Us. This one's by Callie Mel, and like the little characters don't have faces because they're facing away, but in like a cute way. Like, I like this. the new Dust Storm cover is creepy. This one's the sequel to Meet Me in the Penalty Box. So in Meet Me in the Penalty Box, we are following a girl who I believe inherits a hockey team, and like a guy that like is on the team, so she shouldn't be dating him. But the boy in Meet Me in the Penalty Box, he has a sister and she's deaf. And so we meet her, and this is her story in her book with a retired professional surfer. So that's super interesting. The next book that I ended up picking up is Rewitched. This one is by Lucy Jane Wood. And this one is another kind of like cozier, witchy kind of romance vibe. So Belladonna Blackthorn hasn't lost her magic spark precisely, but she hasn't seen it in a while either. With her witchcraft under wraps and a toxic boss making her days miserable, Belle is struggling to find her beloved lunar books afloat and just make it through the day. The last thing she has time for is perfecting her magic. With her 30th birthday when her 30th birthday brings a summons from her coven and a trial that tests her worthiness as a witch, Belle fears for the worst. With only the month of October left to either prove herself or risk losing her magic forever, Belle will need all the help she can get from the women in her life, from an unlikely mentor figure, and even from the infuriating coven watchmen who sworn to protect her. So I thought that one sounded super fun and super cute. And then the last one that I picked up at Half Price Books is Guardian Demon. This one is the 4th book in the Hellbent series. Also has the pretty sprayed edges, but it follows the other 3 books that I just touched on. So we already know what we're getting there. Our last stack to go over is our Barnes & Noble haul. This is the one where I also went a little crazy, but these were also books that I had on my list. I just got lots of hardbacks because I had lots of gift cards. So the first book that I ended up picking up is Violet Thistleway is Not the Villain Anymore. And this one is about a girl named Violet who used to be, I guess, kind of like a henchman of some sort, right hand, the sorcerer's right hand. So the sorcerer ends up dying, and she decides, instead of like continuing being a sorcerer's right hand, she's gonna like start her life over. She decides to settle down in this super cute town called Dragon's Rest and open up a flower shop. And we follow her from there. Another like cozier fantasy kind of thing. I don't know if I was just like really big in a cozy mood as I was book shopping, because I'm not usually a super big cozies girl, but I want to be. I want to be a cozy girl so bad, but I got anxiety. I get scared. Something's going to happen. It's going to be bad. So the whole time I'm just like on edge. Okay, the next book that I ended up picking up is Spellcaster. This one is by Jamin Eve. And I don't really know a ton about this one besides the fact that it is set at a like magical college. So it is that kind of dark academia setting. It has the pretty sprayed edges. And I believe our main character is reconnecting with like a childhood friend, or maybe he's her childhood rival. But basically these two have like history, and now they're at this college, they're supposed to be working together, which I thought sounded super fun. Another book that I grabbed is Can You Take It? This is the final book in the Infatuated Fae series by Janine O'Reilly. And this one we're following Callie as she kind of navigates like what is going on. I'm not really sure where it's going to pick up with how the 3rd book ended. But we had our little love triangle moment. She's kind of officially made her decision. And so the other guy in the love triangle is kind of on his own at this point. So I wonder if we're going to be following how those two kind of work out, because it was very interesting how the 3rd book ended. But I'm very excited to finish this series. So another book that I picked up during the like after Christmas sale is When the Tides Held the Moon. Actually, I didn't get any of those during the after Christmas sale. I think almost everything else that I got was during the after Christmas sale. But during the after Christmas sale, I decided to pick up When the Tides Held the Moon. This one is by Vanessa Vita Kelly. And it's basically, if you guys remember that Guillermo del Toro movie a couple years ago, where the guy is like a mer person and the lady's like the cleaning lady and they fall in love. I think it was called like The Shape of Water or something like that. It's basically that, but 2 boys. So that's super fun, super interesting. I'm super excited to pick this one up. It just looks so like stunning and so cool. I'm just like obsessed with it. The next one that I picked up is also, actually no, this one wasn't from the sale. Huh. I like put them all out of order when I like set them with which store I got them at. But this one is another one that I picked up. I think I actually got this one at Barnes for the buy one get one half off sale that they run sometimes. But this one is Direbound by Sable Sorensen. I feel like this one did its rounds on BookTube and Book Talk like over the summer. I feel like it really blew up then. But it is kind of very similar to like Fourth Wing, Zodiac Academy, like that kind of vibe. It's another like dark academia college setting where the girl goes to a college where I believe they bind with wolves or something. Elite warriors who have mental links to massive, vicious dire wolves. They ride. Yes, I'm excited, but yes. So this is another one that we picked up at Barnes. One book that I did have to order online from Barnes because my store literally couldn't keep it in stock is Hollow. This one's by the Twisted Sisters who did Zodiac Academy, as well as Neverkeep is the other series that like I know them for. But this one is Hollow, and I believe it follows a very similar premise to their other books, another kind of like dark academia kind of setting. I'm no warrior, no swordsmith, and certainly no fae, but the forest is my only hope. To enter these trees is to walk willingly to my demise, but I need the boon the forest will grant the winner, and I'm willing to risk it all for a chance at claiming it. I just never expected to face him beneath those trees, the beast who strikes fear into the desperate people of all lands, the monster who commands the legion of hollows and makes our plight 1,000 times worse. The hollows are empty of all things, but none are so heartless as him. Prince Bane intends to be the death of me, but I have an oath to fulfill before I'll let him have me, and I'll do whatever it takes to achieve it. I'm Ferris Creed, and I'm going to unite the lost spirits who once bound the wandering trees in place, return the scattered amulets to the core of its corruption, and use the winner's boon to change my fate. Come wretchedness or torment, through trickery and deception, I will get what I came here for, and no one will stand in my way, not even Prince Bane. So yeah, super excited for this one. I just think that the cover is so interesting. I love the sprayed edge. Like there's a reason why it was like impossible to find this. So these last three are the ones that I got at Barnes during their 50% off hardback sale right after Christmas. So the first one is Hot Wax. This one is by ML Rio, who is the author of When We Were Villains. So I absolutely loved that book. So I really wanted to pick up her newest release. I think this is her first full-length novel since When We Were Villains. Like she's been kind of a novella short story girl since then, but this is a full-length novel. And in this one, we are following a girl who her parents break up and her dad starts touring with his band. So she decides she wants to follow her dad's band. Looks like she witnesses something that she wasn't supposed to, and she spends the next 29 years trying to disappear. I'm super excited for it though. I loved the way that she writes. I like her like description, her writing style, like just everything about When We Were Villains hits. So I'm hoping that this one will also hit. Dystopian is officially back for 2026, and we can see that with Conform. I feel like I've heard this book be talked about everywhere and being on everyone's list for something that they want to pick up super soon. And this one is, like I said, dystopian. So I guess this one is very similar to The Selection, if anyone was on the internet like a decade ago. But The Selection is basically The Bachelor meets The Hunger Games, and this one is very much giving that vibe. Our FMC is selected to compete in these challenges for the hand of like their current like leader in this kind of setup. So they're kind of being led by this elusive like technology, because of course it's dystopian, and of course the way technology is working, that's dystopian now. And so she gets selected, but she also has feelings for one of the rebel leaders. So it's a love triangle, which again, we love. Okay, and then the very last book that I picked up in this haul is Silver Cloak. This one's by L.K. Stevens, who is also, I believe, Laura Stevens. So she did Our Infinite Fates. I believe that was last year that came out, and everyone like loved it. This is also her. So it looks like this one, we're following our FMC whose parents are murdered when she's a child, and she decides to go to this Silver Cloak Academy to train and get vengeance on whoever hurt her family, called the Blood Moons. So that is this one. So overall, very proud of this haul. I feel like I got a good variety of things. I got some good cozies. I've got some good romance. We've got a couple mystery thrillers. I think that I'm pretty much set. Like I said, I don't think I'm going to be buying too many books until the springtime, and I'm just going to let all of the new releases that are happening in like January, February, and March kind of happen, and then I'll just pick them up like sparingly, because I don't need to buy 30 books in like a month ever again. This was way too many. Thankfully I had gift cards, but also this was too many books. and I don't have room on the shelves. You can see they're full. Thank you so much for taking some time to hang out with me. Leave the cake emoji, the little birthday cake emoji. Leave that if you made it to the end of the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.
So you know how to put your feet up. Whoop.
Mama's gonna clap, okay? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Be brave. I know that was really scary. I know that was really spooky, but we were brave. We're the bravest guy. Hi, hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, the second I start talking, he doesn't want to be in the video anymore. Hi, hello, and welcome to today's YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be, I don't like how I said that. Hi. Why am I like this? The first one that I got was Terror at the Gates. This one is by Catherine St. Clair. Or no, Scarlett St. Clair. Who's Catherine St. Clair? And it has really pretty sprayed edges that are like a little cityscape. Hi, Pippa. What are we doing? What are you doing? Sorry, Pippa started meowing. And so she basically teams up with this billionaire bachelor, Parker Warren. Words are hard. Yeah. No. Yes. I can't read. And it one is, I can't talk. I don't know why I said it like that. This is actually when, I believe this is the second. Again, I said that weird. I should just pretend like my camera didn't die, right? Yeah. But, and it was about this girl whose dad is like wrongfully, well, the wealthy love Hadley Island. I have the hiccups now. I actually don't know what this one's about. So this one is the sequel to, there we go. But he has a sister who is like a professional. Actually, what is she? Is she a professional? No. She's not a professional surfer. I thought she's a professional surfer. The boy is the professional surfer in this one. With her witchcraft, is a guardian demon. Okay, not A. Violet Thistleweight? Yeah. To prune the dark magic from the twisted bows? I don't know what that word is. Twisted bows? Boughs? I'm just going to cut that part out so you don't have to hear me struggle. That's better. But I would rather just read the book where shit is happening and it's going down and it is already bad. So my anxiety can't think of anything worse than what's already happening. That's healthy, right? So in this one, we are following, what are words? Ooh, her cold and beautiful instructor. We like this. Prince Bane intends. I can't read. I feel like I've heard